The church smelled like lilies and old wood. Muffled sobs drifted through the pews, but I sat still, silent, staring at the closed casket in front of the altar. My father was gone. And with him, the last thread tethering me to a family that had been unraveling for years. My older brother, Nathan, stood at the podium giving a eulogy so polished, so poised, you'd think he had been the perfect son. He hadn't cried once. Not even when they lowered the casket. Not when we were alone in the funeral home picking out the urn. He wore grief like a tailored suit, just another formality. I told myself I wouldn't let it bother me. This day was about Dad. Not about Nathan. But of course, Nathan always found a way to make everything about himself. After the burial, we gathered in the family lawyer's office. Just me, Nathan, and Mr. Ellis, who had handled our father's affairs since we were kids. I didn't expect much. My father wasn't rich, but he was careful. The house, his car, the savings, there'd be something. Not that I cared about the money. I had a decent job, a modest apartment, and a life I had built on my own. Still, part of me hoped he had left me something small. A gesture. A letter. Proof that he saw me. But when Mr. Ellis read the will, I felt the floor shift under me. Everything, he said, clearing his throat, goes to Nathan. I blinked. What do you mean everything? Your father left the house, the bank accounts, all assets and property to your brother. There was a pause. Long and suffocating. Nathan didn't even look surprised. I wanted to ask why. I wanted to scream. But I didn't. I simply stood up, nodded stiffly, and walked out. That was the last time I saw my brother for nearly a year. I went on with my life. Or tried to. But grief doesn't knock. It moves in, rearranges the furniture, turns your world upside down. I threw myself into work, writing late into the night. My friends said I was distant. I didn't tell them why. I couldn't explain how something like that, being erased from a will, hurts more than it should. It wasn't about the money. It was about being forgotten. Then came Rachel. She was a quiet presence at my local library. We struck up conversations about books, then music, then life. She was the kind of beautiful that didn't try to be earthy, effortless. She had this calming energy, like a harbor after a storm. We started seeing each other. Slowly, then all at once. She didn't ask too many questions. Just listened. Made space for me. For the first time in a long time I felt seen. 6 months in, she moved into my apartment. We were planning a trip. I was thinking of proposing. I even started writing again. Stories with hopeful endings. Ones that didn't always mirror real life. Then, a photo changed everything. I wasn't snooping. I was looking for a charger in her bag. And there it was. Her phone screen lit up with a message from a contact labeled N. The preview. Last night was a mistake. We can't keep doing this. My stomach dropped. I clicked it before I could stop myself. Dozens of messages. Weeks of back and forths. Late night rendezvous. Old memories. Plans. It didn't take me long to realize who N was. Nathan. My brother. And just like that, the wound that had barely scabbed over was ripped wide open. Rachel had never mentioned knowing him. I never told her much about him, honestly. Why would I? He was a ghost. A name I'd stopped saying out loud. But apparently, they'd met once, at the funeral. She said he approached her, complimented her dress, told her she deserved someone better. It started with drinks. Then dinners. Then nights she claimed she was working late. I confronted her. She cried. Apologized. Claimed it meant nothing. That it was over. That it was a moment of weakness. That she loved me. But there are some things that can't be fixed with apologies. I asked her to leave. She begged. Pleaded. Said she'd cut him off. And she did. For 2 months, silence. Then one morning, I woke up to a message from an unknown number. A video. Grainy, shaky, but unmistakable. Rachel. In Nathan's house. In his bed. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I didn't even respond. I just watched it twice, then deleted her number. Some betrayals feel like lightning, sudden, violent, hot. But this one felt cold. Like standing in snow without shoes. Like realizing the only people who were supposed to love you unconditionally were the ones who cut the deepest. Nathan reached out once. Sent a message. I never meant to hurt you. Things just happened. She said you were pulling away. I never replied. Instead, I wrote. The story poured out of me like blood. About brothers. About loss. About being second best your whole life until you finally stop playing the game. The book sold. Not wildly, but enough. I moved out of the city. Found a small house by the coast. I walk the cliffs most mornings. I drink my coffee in silence. I live alone. And for the first time, it doesn't feel like loneliness. People always expect revenge when you're betrayed. They think walking away is weakness. But I know better. Because when my father died, and Nathan took everything, I let it go. Not because I didn't care, but because I refused to let bitterness chain me to a life I never chose. And when the woman I loved shared her bed with the same man who stole my past, I walked away again. I let them have each other. Let them rot in the house that was never mine. Let them drown in the lies they built. Because some justice comes not from punishment, but from peace. And peace is never loud. It's a quiet morning, a warm cup, an empty inbox, and the unshakable truth that I survived.